In today's webinar, let's continue to talk about reaching our full potential and setting goals to do so. You ever have that glorious moment, so to speak, where you feel you've reached a peak experience? Perhaps it could be present moment awareness, or maybe living in the present moment, those kind of things, to lead you to a better life. Hey everyone, James Nussbaumer, and thanks for joining me in another episode, another live webinar, and I'm calling it today the Fabulous Friday Everyday Miracles webinar. And a little bit extended from my Everyday Miracles moment, which you may see each morning, but today we're going into a live webinar, and this will be posted at YouTube for those of you that have missed it. But let's get going here as I see that people are already messaging in. You just need to hit the message thing on there. If you hit the link, whether you got it from Facebook or on my private email list or maybe Twitter, any kind of social media, if you're there live, feel free right now as I'm talking to send in your questions, because you already know in advance from the posting that this is about how to experience those peak experience moments. And then setting the goals to reach what it is that you want to do in life. A glorious moment of a peak experience where real miracles manifest, we can say, is really about having a peak experience. Seems to just occur in the time-free zone of present moment awareness, which is a transcendent glorious moment that is of the substance of real miracles, not magic. Okay, we're not talking about parting the sea or walking on water. We're talking about real miracles, everyday miracles. To be in the moment is of complete bliss and elation. Wouldn't you agree? Think about that for a moment. These instances where time does not seem to tick are extraordinary and often compared to what some may want to call spiritual awakening events, which I hope that answers the question to Sheila, who just questioned in, can you explain a little bit about spiritual awakening? So, what some may call spiritual awakening, others may call it maybe just an extraordinary moment of bliss. The truth of real miracles cannot join us anywhere. In the past or the future. Now think about that. How can a miracle happen in your past, and how can a miracle happen in your future? It just can't. The miracle can only happen to you right now in this moment that it happens. But only in our separated and fragmenting dream of life, where we depend on time. And there comes in another message. Explain more about the dream of time, Jim. Okay, let me back up and say, our separated and fragmenting thoughts in our mind, not our brain, in our mind, in our God essence, the true essence of who we are, is where the dream of life takes place, where we depend on time and space and material form. And then we also think that we need to depend on the past and the future, which become thoughts, and they fragment more, and that continues where the dream clashes together. The glorious moment of eternal oneness has no clue of any such awareness of the difference between past and future. Does that hit home a little bit with you? What I mean is the past is only what you thought it was, and the future is only what you think it should be or might be. Now, but consider that both are unreal. And that was Darla. And Darla, I hope that you will message me later if I did not answer that question for you. Okay, so I will gladly get back to you later if I didn't, and refer you to one of my blog articles at jamesnussbaumer.com/blog. and you'll get there. But by the way, for everyone, after this webinar is over, I will be writing a detailed blog article, probably going to be about 2,000 words, of this exact session today. So you will be able to see it. For those of you that join me on Facebook or Twitter, you will get notified to social media. And for those of you that are on my email list, you'll get notified of that too. But now let's go into having a peak experience. What does that really mean? Well, anything real can be here. Let me say that anything real can only be here as a glorious moment of the now, in this instant, like A Course in Miracles likes to call it. And then it is gone, and a brand new now, or a brand new instant, is immediately born. The Course in Miracles refers to this as the holy instant. But think about a glorious moment that you've had where there's no thoughts of the past or future, such as those seemingly timeless moments during maybe hitting a perfect golf shot, because I'm an avid golfer, been all my life, or maybe if you're jogging. It doesn't necessarily have to be exercise. Hey, how about during sex? You know, those peak moments. Or dancing. How about the opera singer in the highness of her high note? Isn't that a timeless moment? You know, or just maybe anything that you're flowing with, any kind of flowing type of activity that just means, and you got that feeling of bliss running through you, that chill running up your spine. Yes, and that's what these are called. These are called real miracles. So we all have had a peak experience, or we may say peak level moments. Could we say that? But they're not magic. You know, we like to say, "Oh, that was a magical moment," but it seems like maybe, why don't we leave out the word "it was a magical moment" and say it was a miraculous moment? But these magical moments. But these so-called magical, that really are miraculous, miracle moments, are real, glorious moments or instants without any influence of regretting the past or predicting the future. Now, for example, in this, now I'm sorry, folks, if I'm not answering all your questions. I see that the messages are piling up, but I'm looking at them on the side of my screen here. So I will get to you as I can, and I will bring them up, but I may not get to everyone. And like I said, if you feel as though I didn't answer your question, hey, give me a shout out at my website or at YouTube later if you watch this. But for example, let's talk about a peak moment experience where time is not involved. For example, I discussed this in a previous Everyday Miracles Moment video too, and in one of my blog articles. But you know, I start in the morning usually writing about 5 in the morning, sometimes a little early, but let's just say 5 in the morning. And a particular writing session, I might be so involved and so in tune that by the time I'm done with that article, say for my blog to be posted at my blog, an article to be posted at my blog, you know, at my website, all of a sudden, I started at 5. It now may be, you know, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, after I'm done with it and I have it posted, I look back, I said, you know, I started this at 5 a.m. All of a sudden, and I look back and it was just like an instant. It was just an instant. An instant in reality where clock time has no meaning. So, a glorious moment? Yes, and I hope that explains your question, Harvey, who had just on the side there, he's just said his name is Harvey, wanted me to expand more on the glorious moment or instant at the Course in Miracles. And by the way, the Course in Miracles has a whole chapter on the holy instant, and I urge you to check that out in A Course in Miracles. If you are a student of A Course in Miracles but don't feel as though you're able to connect because it is quite in-depth, hey, then buy my books and read my blogs, because that's what I write about. I reflect and extend the principles of A Course in Miracles into the concrete form of words that will hit home easier for you. Because the Course in Miracles can be quite abstract. But sure, let's talk about a glorious moment. There was some unpleasant, sounds in my writing session earlier today, that were going on in the background while I was writing in that what seemed to be an instant. It could have been like some annoying, maybe a loud motorcycle that went by outside my studio that just might have kind of wasn't too enjoyable, or a car with, say, the bad muffler. But it was okay. I just, kind of, it's not too good. And I kept writing, and it didn't matter. It just was like just in the background. Then on the other hand, there was nice little distractions, I could say, like the sun coming up outside my studio window over the trees. Glorious, beautiful sunrise on a fall morning like today, okay? Autumn morning like today. And, and that was a pleasant distraction. But either way, it didn't disrupt me or interfere with my present moment awareness or my mission at hand of my mission at hand, which is about operating in no time, we could say. So, okay, Mary Ellen, what is the present moment awareness, you ask? Well, let's try to get into that. First of all, by the way, as you are listening to me, if you're at YouTube, in the description area down below, I have a link to a wonderful, wonderful video that I hope you'll check out. And it comes with a free ebook on how to manifest your destiny by being in the present moment as you operate and start goal setting towards what it is you want to do in life. So I hope that you'll check that out. Now, if you're at my blog and you're reading this article, reading the article that probably any of my blogs, you'll notice on the right-hand column of my blog article, on the sidebar they call that, is on the, I think it's the number 1 on the side. There's a picture of Albert Einstein with a thing to click on to watch that video. So give that a try, and but that will also lead you to the free ebook. Okay, so let's go on and talk about, to answer this question, what is present moment awareness? Well, only in these instants, when you are determined to see the ego for the nothingness it is, only then, when you accept the ego, that doubting and fearful, that doubting Thomas aspect in you, will you accept the Holy Spirit, which is your inner divine guide, as the presence of your mind that exists only in a glorious moment of the now, the instant, the holy instant. The Course in Miracles asks us to consider, how long is an instant? Think about that. How long is an instant? Well, in this present moment awareness, it is the amount of time, the length of time it takes you to choose and live inside the Holy Spirit's right-minded thought process over the wrong-minded process of the ego, which is always plagued with guilt. What is right-mindedness and wrong-mindedness? They're both of the ego, but for example, as I explained earlier in my writing session this morning, the distractions I had, say the bad muffler in the car that went by, or the loud motorcycle, which I love motorcycles, but it was just so loud, it seemed to interrupt me a little bit. It was just a distraction. Now, wrong-mindedness could have meant where I went in and just scolded that guy with the bad muffler and just ruined my writing session because of dwelling so deeply on how dare that man drive through next to my studio with a loud muffler. But I chose not to see it that way. I just chose to kind of just let it go by me without really distracting me too much. And by that type of attitude, that would be considered a right-minded attitude. If I dwelled on it, how much it upset me, that would have been a wrong-minded side of the ego. For example, if I may have heard some birds chirping in the park across as the sun was coming up this morning, I did. That distraction, I enjoyed that for what it was. But that was right-mindedness. And so look at right-mindedness as your experience or your touch or your reflection of heaven, if you will. Excuse me. So in the present moment awareness, it's the length of time it takes you to choose how you're going to think about a certain goal or objective or what it is that you're doing. In these instances where you meet your own holiness. So to be in the moment, what does to be in the moment mean? To answer the question that just came up, Course in Miracles further teaches us that each instant is a clean and crystal clear, untarnished new birth of thought, and it is your glimpse of eternity. The glorious moment of eternity never sees the past or never touches the future, but is always in this instant, or we may say the now. The glorious moment of eternity has no past, has no future. It's always now, this instant, now. That's what the Course in Miracles terms the holy instant. So when an impure thought strikes you, in that instant, ask the Holy Spirit to replace it with pure right-mindedness of present moment awareness. So to simplify that, let me say that your inner guide of truth will always be there in helping you to be in the moment by delivering this to you as a holy instant. My friend and colleague who writes very spiritually, the very popular Eckhart Tolle, terms this the power of now. To live in the present moment awareness. So what does that really mean? Well, we've got to have goals. Now, this leads us into part 2 of this session, where we're going to talk about your objectives and your goals and setting life goals, setting and achieving goals, and a little bit more on the Course in Miracles. And, what is your life purpose? Reaching your goals. So let's go into setting some goals around being in the instant, understanding the now, understanding that past needs to be let go of and no worry of the future. Setting goals for what we long to do while in this world is important for all of humanity. Why is that important for all of humanity, that we achieve our goals? Because the journey toward setting and achieving goals can be made easier if you understand that the world needs you to reach your full potential. The world needs you to reach your goals. How so? Well, having objectives and goals uncovers the spirit of your purpose and passion, the spirit of your true free will, while guiding you toward the bliss of creating the life that you want. And the reason it's guiding you towards creating the life that you want is because you are touching the whole, W-H-O-L-E. You are touching wholeheartedness of everyone in the world, and that's where we find completion. Isn't that what happens when things during sex, I could go back to, like I said earlier, when we feel completion? Or that terrific golf shot, or that opera singer in her high note, as I used that example in my first book, The Master of Everything, A Story of Mankind in the World of Illusion We Call Life. I hope that you'll check that out. I hope that you'll buy all my books if you haven't yet. But each instant we spend seeing ourselves as united with our interlocking chain of minds enables us to begin setting life goals and seeing our desired objectives and goals being achieved as fully attainable. Keep in mind, when I mention the mind, the interlocking chain of minds, I'm not talking about your brain. Your brain is of the body. I'm talking about your mind, which is beyond the body. It's the God essence of who you are. These instants, or this power of now, as my friend Eckhart Tolle would mention it, these instants will strengthen the desire to reach our goals if they are real. because setting and achieving goals is part of the Holy Spirit's use of time for his completion plans, for the awakened chain, to awaken the interlocking chain to heaven, where we really never left. Look at it as though a tiny segment of the whole mind of creation may have, say, slipped into a daydream of sort. And it's the same daydream, the same days, however you want to refer to it. That instant's been going on since time began, since the symbolic Garden of Eden, we can say. But try to see that setting life goals are those of your true free will. I mean your life purpose. I mean the passion that's in you that's just dying to come out. And that also is God's purpose and passion for you. So, more on your objectives and goals. Setting, okay, another question come up on the side here. Is setting too many goals a bad thing to do? Someone had asked. Let me say that by setting and achieving goals your setting and achieving of goals has already been charted out for you. And all you need to do is not be afraid of the light and take action on your objectives and your goals and your dreams and your passions by the truth that is within you. It doesn't matter how many goals you have, as long as they are part of your trueness, your truthfulness inside. The Course in Miracles may help this when it states this spiritual metaphysical principle. The Course in Miracles states, arced high above is, let me back up. Arced high above it and surrounding it with love is the glorious whole, W-H-O-L-E, which offers all its happiness and deep content to every part. I'll repeat that. Arced high above it and surrounding it with love is the glorious whole, which offers all its happiness and deep content to every part. So look at that principle from the Course in Miracles and set that and parallel that with the goals that you are setting. And you will see how to start taking action and achieve them goals and objectives and dreams. Because it's this light of truth that is what will direct you. Now, with setting and achieving goals, you can tell yourself that you are the deliverer, we can say, of truth, or the deliverer of salvation, say, and therefore have a function in this world of shining light onto the darkness. Yes, your light onto the darkness. The darkness that is in you and is in all of us is being brought to light right now as you are listening to me in this webinar and taking notes perhaps. And also it's the darkness in you is being brought to light as you are contemplating, setting life goals and objectives in the back of your mind. Among many other things that you're being led to. Whatever your goals and objectives are, even if you haven't taken action on it yet, but if you've thought about it, right there you've planted the seed. Now all you have to do is nourish the seed that you planted into fertilized soil and let it grow by taking action. So you will be made whole with your desire to make whole. I hope that makes sense because it's beautiful. The difficulty in setting life goals for me, for myself, let me take another sip of tea here. The difficulty in setting goals for me and my objectives and dreams to be achieved has always been my worry of not having enough time. But have you ever felt yourself like you might just be running out of time, or there's not enough time in a day to get the things done that you want to actually achieve your life purpose, and then you kind of just feel like giving up on it? Well, however, for myself, I didn't truly realize that all the fear I had ever experienced was also due to this time scenario, a dilemma, if you will, holding me back, and my fears of the future even more that my regrets over the past were ruling me. And I had to let that go. So what is your purpose in life? You may be contemplating within yourself. Even if you really feel you don't know, just by asking the question, you've planted the seed. And by asking more, you're fertilizing the soil. And by asking again and then listening for the answer from within, where the Holy Spirit is trying to get the message to you, by opening your mind and listening, you are now sprinkling a little water on the seed that you planted, and it's going to start growing and sprouting. But see, now I'm able to consider how the Holy Spirit in my mind will readjust time in order to assist me with setting and achieving goals, or we could say my mission and my life purpose, while I am here in the dream of time, space, a physical or material world, material form, we can say, together with all others. So, you see, for me to achieve my life purpose, someone else like you who are listening to me must be setting life goals to achieve their purpose, and so on. I can clear that up by saying another principle of the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles teaches us that there must be an adjustment in time for the miracle of past error to be turned into knowledge. Therefore, what this means, what does time mean when you are concerned with setting life goals other than defeating your own fears and relieving yourself from doubt and allowing yourself to go beyond all that, where reality holds your holiness, just as it holds mine. So there is, well, let me say that this is where no two minds can join in the desire for truth without truth joining in with them. I hope that makes sense today, and I hope I answered all questions in this fabulous Friday Everyday Miracles webinar. Please leave me some messages wherever you see this posting afterwards as to whether or not you think that you want this webinar weekly, maybe twice a week. Probably is about all I can handle. So let me know. I'm encouraged to get your comments. If it was worthwhile, maybe just even a quick thumbs up will give me an indication on your evaluation of this webinar. So with all that said, if you're at YouTube and you're watching this later, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need you as a subscriber. Why do I need you as a subscriber? Because I need you as much as you need me. We need each other in this world. And I hope you're thinking a lot about your own life and all the beauty that is within you. Look at your goals and objectives that you're trying to reach. Look at that full potential that you're trying to reach for, and begin living it, and knowing that that's part of the naturalness and the beauty that you are. The beauty that you are, by reflecting that beauty, extending it to the material world, will get you reaching your full potential and achieving your goals and dreams and creating the life you want. Until next time, I gotta go. God bless.